Dime qué tú quieres, papi. ¿Quieres que lo mueva para ti? Mueve, mueve. ¿Te gusta cuando me muevo así? Así.
Thank you, God, for this day. We have lived everything in our life, our health, our family, the guidance you have given us, allow us guidance to the path of righteousness. Amen.
Really, I'ma get that bitch. Revenge is a dish best served cold. She took my son, now my soul is cold. He took my daddy, now my soul is old.
Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub?
King Chaka ENT. Y'all can check out the music on Spotify, Apple, and other services. Doing what we do 3 to 4 nights a week. King Chaka ENT. From the
She
back
starts
seat.
shooting.
Ow!
That dude was like, ow.
What was that?
Outside the car,
That nigga
deputies'
got
body
popped.
cameras capturing the bullets flying through the air.
We got shots fired
couldn't
up
have been
here.
a straight
We
shot.
need
It had
backup
to be-
immediately. Start
Are you-
EMS. Start EMS.
What
We got
the
a
fuck?
civilian. We got a civilian hit.
The deputy.
Looks like we got us another hit.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? Can y'all hear me? How y'all feel? Remember, an educated public cannot be controlled. Learn to be active. The views and events expressed here are totally whacked. They're not necessarily the views of anyone. I want to do my monologue, but I got this music and I'm afraid it might give me a strike. So I'm going to instead, what am I going to do? I'm just going to play a video. I'm sorry, y'all. I really want to get into it. Screw it. The name of the show today is What is Disconnected? What is disconnected? What is going on? With us as humans. I think about this all the time. I think about the disconnect, and it's got to be something that's disconnected, because it's like, you see something and it happens, and then your mind makes it into something else or whatever. Like, it seems like in today, the facts of reality don't really matter, like what's real and true doesn't really matter. It's like fake is winning, untruth is winning. How many examples can you think of in your life that looks like that? Like, I see it everywhere. So, but what I'm saying is, it's like, it's us as far as our disconnect. There's a something going on in our minds where we aren't relating how this relates to that. It's like, but maybe it's the way that we're educated. Maybe it's the way the system works, as far as it causes us to focus on details, or focus on like certain things, and instead of seeing the rest of the picture. Like, it's okay to focus on those things, but you don't really understand what's going on if you can't back up a bit and look at other factors, because what's influencing that thing? You know, that's what I mean by does this relate to that? You know, or does that relate to this? How does that relate to this? You know, that's what I'm trying to say. The disconnect. I feel like we as humans, we're disconnected from nature. I feel like we're disconnected from ourselves. I feel like there's something going on in our mind where even our mind is disconnected from our mind. Like there's a separation going on there. You know, where our politics is disconnected from reality. You know, the way we live our life is disconnected from like nurturing us, like from us thriving. You know, people get stuck on having stuff. You know, they just want to have stuff, and I get that. And you know, whenever I study history and I see the trinkets, it's like every time they came with trinkets, and the people sold their ass in the land and their wife and everything else for these trinkets. And I think about that today, and I feel like, you know, so your trinkets today is stuff like your car that you drive or whatever, you know, maybe, you know, I wanted to talk about this, like the parking spot spaces. You know, okay, this is random, but it's, you know, parking spot spaces, like especially the ones in like these apartments and stuff. Like, you know, it seems like when the nicer area you're in or the nicer place you go, there's the parking is wide and comfortable to pull into and pull out of and get out of your car and all of that. But it seems like the more like, I don't know, lower end, if you will, the places are, the more tighter the freaking parking spots are. And it's like you got to squeeze into the parking spot and then you got to squeeze out of it. It's like a whole punishment. It's like, why the hell did they draw these lines up so fucking close? Like, am I getting punked right now? Like, where's the camera? What is going on? Like, I don't know. Call me fucking crazy. But again, it's related to what I think about with these apartments. A lot of times I feel like they're open air prisons. And it's like the little tight parking spot is just another little punishment for your ass. It's like another little you know, constriction, another restriction, another inconvenience, something to slow you down just a bit more. And it's like the whole thing is like that. It's like this thing slows you up a bit, this thing slows you up a bit, that thing slows you up a bit. Now you're getting pulled over by the police and you're going to jail. That escalated quickly. But I'm just saying, that's what I see in the system. It seems like, you know, it's it's a punishment. It seems like the way we have to work all day, every day. I don't know, call me crazy, but it seems like it's a punishment. It's that's just where my head is at on that. I'm like, can somebody please help me understand? You know, am I being punished? What did I do wrong? I was just born. That's all I did. Like, come on, can I get a break? Anyways, like I say, the disconnect. What are we disconnected from? What is going on with our mind for us to be so disconnected from reality and so disconnected from the truth? Why do we tell lies over and over and over again? You know, to ourselves and others. You know, why are we so like, why does our mind doesn't like, one of the things that kills me is how like people complain about how other people do a certain thing and then they turn around and do that same thing. And I really just can't understand how you could complain about somebody else doing this thing and then you go and do the same thing. It's like, okay, it's okay for everybody. It's okay for you to do it, but it's not okay for everybody else to do it. You know, I really, 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 really don't get that. So when you go out and do that thing that bothers you, when you go do that thing, do you not think that it's other people thinking the same way that you were thinking when other people were doing that thing that was bothering them? You don't care at that point? I don't understand. I really don't get that at all. It really freaking drives me crazy. And that's what I mean by like the disconnect of our mind. I don't know, from the left to the right brain. I don't know. We got it broken up, and they don't communicate with each other. People can't see themselves doing the things that bothers them, you know? They can't see themselves not seeing the truth. They can't see themselves being brainwashed. They can't see themselves being manipulated. They think they're smarter than everybody. Like each one of us, we think we're smarter than everybody. So how could that be? How could that be? Some of us are lying to ourselves. You know, maybe all of us are. Anyways, I'm gonna move on because I totally lost my train of thought, but I'm gonna come back to it. I really need to send out the damn text messages. I didn't do none of that shit. I'm all off. I'm not on Rumble because I didn't freaking finish doing I'm all off. Throw it off. Today is my birthday. It's my birthday. 10/1, October 1st. You know, so yeah. I'm a year older, I guess. You know, I guess I should be thankful, right? I should be thankful to be here. A lot of us aren't. A lot of our ancestors are not here with us, not in the physical, anyways. You know, and it's crazy. You know, they talking about the fucking what is it? Life expectancy of like the United States going down, and I see a lot of people that are like young that are dying, bro. Like all my grandparents, they lived old as hell. They all lived old as hell, but my dad didn't. He died when he was like 50, 52. And anyways, I'm seeing a lot of people who are passing away like in their 50s and 60s. Like, what is going on? What is happening? What is up with this generation? Am I freaking crazy? Maybe it has something to do with what I'm saying about feeling like I'm being punished. You know, we could talk about the food, but let's talk about the depression. You know, let's talk about the stress. You know, the stress and depression is what leads you to eat that terrible food. That grind, being busy, not having enough time is what leads you to eating that terrible food. And I don't think it's the food that's killing these people like that. The food is a huge factor, but these people are going in their 50s and 60s. That's not just a bad diet. There's another fact. There's more factors. There's more going on here. Oh, anyways. Let me get it together, y'all. Give me a second. I want to play this while I try to get myself together.
The real reason that Disney is choosing to make Little Mermaid black. Talk about the real reason that Disney is choosing to make Little Mermaid black, because it's certainly not the reason that you think it is. So let's just get straight into it. Black Panther was the first black superhero movie, and of course, black people showed up and showed out. So much so that Black Panther earned $1.34 billion at the box office, and it stands alone as the biggest solo superhero movie in history. And it previously set the record as the biggest February opening weekend ever, earning an insane $192 million in the US in a couple of days, and it quickly became the highest grossing film by a black director. So you have to wonder, why did Marvel decide to come out with a black superhero movie and skip past all these other ethnicities, and why all of a sudden are all of these TV shows and commercials and movies coming out with black lead roles? Is it because they finally want us to be included and they want us to get our fair share, or do they see an opportunity for gain in the black community? Well, there's no need to wonder for long, because did you know that black people are the biggest consumers in the United States? So much so that economists estimate the value of black people Can we talk about the real reason that Disney is choosing to make Little Mermaid black? Because it's certainly not the reason that you think.
Didn't even get to finish. I didn't watch this earlier, so I apologize, y'all. And then it's freaking got that damn music in the background. The clip didn't even finish explaining her point. That's annoying. I want to get into it, but
все, чтобы привести в чувство такие горячие будут.
Screw it. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. Freaking what's her name? Katie Helper got fired by The Hill earlier this week. And it's really interesting because it's all because she did a story about how Israel is an apartheid state. Given that she's Jewish, I guess it carried even more weight in the heavy punch. And then also it just shows where the power lies in the media and period, and who you can criticize and who you can't. You know, it's super interesting. But it draws light on something that I love to talk about, and that's the Palestinians, because I recognize that it's the exact same thing that happened over here in the United States, like literally the same freaking story. Like it's the settler colonialism. Anyways, they're just trying to soften it up, and they're really going to want to be successful, just like the United States. And the Palestinians will live in an apartheid state similar to their others that live here in the States. And I you know, people will probably call me crazy for saying that, but if you really look at it, it'll be there right in your face. And the other thing I kind of wanted to cover was the Jimmy Dore was talking about how the Pentagon's bot army got banned from Facebook and Twitter. I think that's just like a good thing to bring up, because so many bots, man. And then they were banning the bots, and then they found out later that it was freaking Pentagon. Like, whoops, my bad. Okay, I don't want to jump right into the video. I want to big it up a bit first. Freaking, let's play Breaking Points. It's really interesting because if you know anything about the background of these channels, well, I watch these stuff and, you know, hey, I'm a weirdo, but whatever. The Hill Rising, where freaking Crystal and Sager was at, and then they left The Hill, and then they did Breaking Points, and you know, and now it's rivaling the other freaking channels that do the same kind of stuff. Like they're really they're doing a really good job. They have a good product. But anyways, The Hill is still doing their thing, and Katie Helper was working with them and making money with them. And so, and what's really interesting about this story also is because the two that's telling the story, you know, that's interviewing Katie Helper here on Breaking Points, these two also left The Hill. So you've got Crystal and Sager who left The Hill and created this whole channel. And now they're so successful that they're able to bring other people on. And so two correspondents that were previously on The Hill, two different ones, now work for Crystal and Sager over here in Breaking Points. And then these are the two that's going to interview Katie Helper on this story.
An article you wrote, and I believe we have Katie Helper joining us. This is a very, very interesting story. If you want to tee it up a bit, because you wrote about it over at The Intercept,
right,
that would be great.
Close to home for us too. So Katie Halper, as probably most people here know, friend of this show, former friend of Rising, on Monday was
friend of the American people.
Friend of the American people, all the world's people. On Monday, she was co-hosting Rising, as folks know. You do a radar on the from the left, a radar from the right, then you do the segment, and then they post it, move on. If anybody watched Rising Monday, they noticed that there was only a radar from the right, not one from the left. Turned out that she had done hers on a segment very similar to, it was on the same topic that we had done one, very recently, which was the controversy around Rashida Tlaib saying that you can't be progressive and support Israel's apartheid government. Katie took actually an even deeper look at the question of whether Israel qualifies as an apartheid government than I did last week. In my, we don't call them radars anymore, we call them monologues, counterpoints. We talk at you.
I call them
we talk
Ryan
to each other.
rants.
Right, my rants. And they, over at Rising, paused, refused to run the radar, and just recently she was told that not only are they not going to write it, that she's not welcome back. And so we're going to be joined by Katie Halper to tell the story on this in just a moment. And we are, in fact, joined by friend of the show, Katie Halper now. Katie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And so Katie, also send James, producer James, a couple of links. Send him the video. Tell people where they can go and watch your full video that you've produced, and we'll make sure that we put that in the links at the bottom as well.
Great. Yeah. Oh, we're not going to do a screening party right now.
Well, we don't quite have the tech capacity to do the screening party yet, but people can.
Yeah.
So
it's right now. It's at Breakthrough News, their YouTube channel. It'll be up at my channel shortly as well. YouTube.com/The Katie Halper Show. But definitely check out Breakthrough News. I want to make sure that they get, a lot of eyes and credit. And then I did something at YouTube.com/The Katie Halper Show as well, where I just kind of did a little explanation, not too detailed, about what happened.
Right. And so tell us. So Monday you showed up. You co-hosted the show in the studio. You submitted your radar. What happened next?
So I had submitted it, I guess, the night before. Although, as you guys probably know, it's not. It's not even a submission. You just do it, and ostensibly, unless you're reading probably like Nazi propaganda, that you just get the right to do it. But people saw that it was called, apartheid exists. Yes, Israel does have apartheid, something like that. Yes, apartheid exists in Israel. This was not a piece that you couldn't tell was about Israeli apartheid. It was a piece that clearly made the argument that there was an apartheid system in Israel. I delivered it. I think it went well. I like to think it went well. I delivered it. I did some more hosting. There was this interesting moment, which apparently isn't that unprecedented, where one of the co-hosts then read a pickup where he kind of reiterated something that Jonathan Greenblatt had said, Jonathan Greenblatt of the Anti-Defamation League, of the ADL. And then when I left, I had to run off to do another show because I had to do a Useful Idiots taping. And I got a call, and it was very apologetic. And I said this in my video, and I want to make sure people know that the producers I was working with were like nothing but supportive. They wanted, I hope I don't get them fired by saying that they wanted their higher ups to do the right thing. Maybe that makes you fireable in corporate media.
I think that's a really important point, though, Katie, because I was going to ask you, and that was our experience. Like when we submitted radars, I never had one that was pushed back. I don't think you ever had one that was pushed back.
Just goes right into the teleprompter.
Yeah, Katie, like
my
you said,
typos and all.
It's not really a submission. Yeah, exactly. Right. And the producers know that this is part of what makes the show great. That you have this perspective that, by the way, is like fairly mainstream left perspective. I mean, you have Amnesty International's, it's basically Amnesty International's perspective. And then, Katie, what was your sense when you have everybody working on the show? Again, this was our experience. They're great. They understand this makes what makes the show great. It got moved up the chain of command. And that's where the problem started to become very, very clear. What was your experience as that moved up the chain of command?
So I was talking to producers like basically Monday through Wednesday about trying to figure out a way to make sure it would get on air. Again, they were really supportive. And then I got an email from Bob I got a phone call from Bob Cusack, who in no uncertain terms told me not going to run it, not going to run the piece, which kind of shocked me just because I wasn't expecting the phone call. And I just, I don't know. I felt very chastised and kind of put in my place, which is fine. I guess they have the right to do that. It kind of undermines their shtick of being independent-minded and not having talking points or not having. I mean, their shtick is that you don't have to stay within this certain lane, right? You're allowed to say things both on the left and on the right that you're not allowed to say in most corporate media. So anyway, I got the call from him. And then I, not to get too into like the nitty gritty of how this show works, but I was then, because I was told that you can't do Israel opinion pieces, but you could do segments. And I go on the show every week to do a segment. So I was like, okay, so can I do this for my segment tomorrow? And I asked the producers that. And then I was directed to an email that I got from an executive there who told me in no uncertain terms I wasn't needed. My services were no longer needed.
And that's an executive at News Nation, or as at not News Nation, at Nexstar, not
at Nexstar,
The Hill.
right.
Okay, because The Hill is owned by this big media company, Nexstar, which recently, by the way, hired Chris Cuomo to host a show on News Nation. But Katie was a bridge too far for Nexstar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if only I had covered up my. I'm an only child, so sadly I didn't have the chance to cover up the crimes of my brother, and commit a total, engage in a total. Conflict of interest, and also, probably grab a woman's ass at a party and engage in sexual harassment. But no, if only I'd done that, I would have gotten my own show, I guess. But so then I got that email, and that really shocked me. I have to admit, I just didn't think it was.
I can read that. Katie,
sure,
I can read it. I have it here. She writes, we wanted to let you know that we will not be needing you to appear on Rising tomorrow AM. Please feel free to submit any unpaid invoices for your work on Rising. We wish you all the best. And also, Gary Waitman, who's the Chief Communications Officer for Nexstar, he declined to comment for this story for The Intercept, and also presumably he's declining to comment for this.
Got fired
segment as well. So you got that email where you're saying, okay, well, let's do this as a segment, and then a top executive writes, actually, there's not going to be a segment. Send us all your invoices, and we wish you all the best.
Right. And I had been doing these segments for 3 years. I mean, I did it when Crystal and Sagar were at The Hill, and I did it during this reiteration, which you both were part of, obviously. And I really did. Like, the thing I appreciate about The Hill was that you could say things that were taboo in other places and other corporate news. And, I knew that there were a lot of things that were said on that show that I disagreed with. But again, that was the shtick. It was like someone from the left, someone from the right. And seeing that the kind of censorship and cowardice, I would say, around issues that exist in so much corporate media, seeing that it existed at The Hill, which kind of prides itself for being outside of that censorship, was really depressing. And it felt, I'd love to be on your show and be like, but I'm gonna, get back at these people, or I'm gonna persevere and do my own thing. And I am going to, obviously, you can find my stuff at youtube.com/The Katie Halper Show, at Useful Idiots. You can join my Patreon, patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show. But right now, I'm just, to be honest, I mean, it's just disappointing, and it's saddening, and it's infuriating, and it's frustrating, and you just feel very powerless. Now, the good thing, again, is like the silver lining is that I filmed this video with Breakthrough News, which is an actually independent media. And so, because I was really determined to get this out there, like I did not, like they could silence me at The Hill and they could fire me, but I wanted to make sure that this argument got out there, which was, basically I defend Rashida Tlaib from the typical attacks that she gets. I called out ADL for, I think, just for saying that Israel is not an apartheid state. I mean, it's just, okay, you can say that, but unfortunately, not only does Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch say that it's apartheid, not only do obviously Palestinians say it's apartheid, not only obviously do Palestinian human rights organizations say that, but you have the Israeli and their Israeli Jews, at B'Tselem say it's apartheid. And I say that, and I mean, this is another issue of kind of like the way you're given some protection when you're Jewish. Like I'll be called a self-loathing Jew as opposed to an anti-Semite. And self-loathing Jew, you mean that, look, you can get fired, obviously, over saying this, but there is some relative privilege you get within this conversation if you're Jewish. I think like I feel more comfortable talking about this stuff than probably other people do. And of course, this is brings up a larger issue of how people are not allowed to report on this. I mean, obviously, Shireen Abu Akleh is someone who literally was killed because she was reporting on this issue. And I'm not comparing myself at all. Like I'm like doing op-ed pieces from the comfort of my own home. She was there on the ground. And ironically, I was able to talk about Shireen Abu Akleh at the Hill. That was one of the things I appreciated, that I could talk about that. And I even said that Israel lied, which I guess was controversial, but it's not, because we know they lied, because they said that they released footage of a Palestinian shooting, pretending that was Shireen Abu Akleh, and then it was revealed that wasn't. It was physically impossible from that alley for that bullet, So again, that was so refreshing. Like, I really appreciate that I could sit there wearing like corporate media makeup and corporate media outfits and have all the like high production value that goes into corporate media. And I think it's really powerful to hear someone say Israel lied, they killed Shireen Abu Akleh. It's very powerful to hear that and see that in that context, as opposed to just, me from my own home saying it. And I really do think that there was a value in reaching people in that way. And I think that that's what the Hill provides, is a kind of air of professionalism that often, because the left doesn't have huge funders the way the right does, I mean, we don't see this as much on the left.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that when you push, you find or you discover the corporate third rails, and you have to push to do it. But this is like just such a good example of that. And Katie, like again, I disagree with the argument, but it's a reasonable argument, and it's within the bounds of reasonable debate. And when you weaponize identity politics to stifle it, which I'm assuming is what the Hill, or I shouldn't even say the Hill, it sounds like it was Nexstar, was doing, going in that direction, then this is going to fester. It's not going to heal anything. It makes everything fester. It makes everything worse. And it's a good example of like, this is just profoundly sad. And
I think sad.
It's really sad. But I gotta feel her, and I commend her for being honest about this whole thing, and like how her insecurities related to like how she felt after basically they fired her. And it's like a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm a persevere, I'm good or whatever. She's like, man, this shit hurt, man. I've been doing these I've been working with them for 3 years, man. I like doing that, man. That's my check, man. That's messed up, man. All I did was tell her the truth, man. This is what y'all hired me to do this, man. I did my job, man. What the hell, man? That's what it is right there. Let me read the caption underneath this. It says, Ryan and Emily are joined by journalist Katie Halper, who tells the story of how the Hill censored and blacklisted her for a monologue she recorded about Israel-Palestine. Watch her full response link below. Let me read some comments under the video. It says, I sense the beginning of a grouping together of the best real journalists in the country. This little show is going to become a juggernaut. I think so too. From the beginning, they already just came out the gate like, wow. And some of the best stuff, and I don't agree with them all the time. And I be talking about, I'm a big fan of Crystal and Sager. Do not get me wrong. I'm a fan of them. But they're like politics, once they leave outside of the United States, is a little shaky, at best. But they're really good at the local politics. So when they talk about local, national politics, when they talk about national politics, their stuff is really good. They're insightful or whatever. And it's really interesting to hear them kind of argue sometimes because, Sager comes completely from the right, and he's all about like the numbers and how much things are going to cost. And he's also very like socially conservative. So he cares about like, pro-life and, stuff like that, families, traditional family values and stuff like that. So Crystal comes from the left, and she wants like universal health care, and basically she's a little Bernie Sanders. So and then they argue about things, and that's what's good. That's why people watch the show, is because all of the, especially like if it's a political, really all of the news, it comes from one direction or another, like completely. Like it doesn't have no like balance to it at all. And so, and even the same thing with any of your shows that you get from your independent media sources that people want to talk about now, which is better, but you still getting, a total, one perspective type of view on whatever the topic is. So, but that's what Crystal and Saga do. They give you them looking at it from two different ways, and that's really cool, really good. So yeah, and now they're growing and bringing in other freaking. I wouldn't mind working for them. I ain't gonna lie. If they could tell me to do a segment for them, I would be very happy to do it. Let me read some more comments. It says, "Done with the Hill. Thank you for being you and standing your ground." I pretty much a lot of people left the Hill when Crystal and Saga left, and I'm still subscribed, and every now and then they still make stuff that's better than a lot of the freaking stuff that's out there. So some of their stuff is good. So yeah, but after Crystal and Saga was the whole thing. Let me read some more. It says, "I'm so sorry that happened to Katie, but good for her for sticking to her guns. Integrity is priceless." And another part of this story is that she was kind of pushing to get the segment because on Monday was when she shot the segment, or we're supposed to do it or something like that. And she was still trying to finagle a way to get the segment in by like Wednesday. And then that's when they fired her. Let me read another comment. It says, "Thank you for the continued fair-minded, intelligent reporting. Just unsubscribed from the Hill. I lean right on most topics, so seeing censorship isn't surprising at all. Katie Helper is a great journalist who has the audacity to report factual reality that may be uncomfortable for some and doesn't follow the mainstream media narrative. Keep up the great work. So grateful to know there are professional journalists on both sides of the political aisles with uncompromising integrity and a commitment to people stay well informed. Thank you, thank you, thank you." I watched the Useful Idiots, and sometimes that stuff is really dense and kind of hard to follow. I ain't gonna lie, because they be joking. She jokes a lot. She's pretty funny. She's kind of funny in a dry, Jewish uh, kind of way, nasally voice kind of way. I like I'm a fan, and I don't agree with all the stuff that she says. And she has, what's his name? Is it, I want to say Matt Taibbi, but it's not Matt Taibbi. I think his name is Matt. I can't think of his name. The other guy, he's a really smart guy. He be on the what is it called? The Gray Zone. He's on the Gray Zone, and that's that show with what that other guy. I can't think of these two guys' name, but that stuff is like the best. Some of the best. Like next, remember Julian Assange when he was doing WikiLeaks. So like next to WikiLeaks, the Gray Zone is it's up there. It's like a lot of people try to look at the New York Times as like the ultimate whatever, but it's basically written by the military industrial complex. So some of the stories will be good, but you're not going to hear anything good against like the pharmaceutical industry or the military industrial complex, any of them big ones. But the Gray Zone, and they even send people on the ground and stuff. Like their reporting, their fucking journalism is the best that you're gonna get related to like international politics and shit like that. It's definitely shit. I don't know what somebody out there tell me what you know is better than that shit. So, anyways, go check out the Gray Zone. And Katie Helper Show, Useful Idiots. What's up, Deuce?
Shit, not much, man. Out here grinding, bro. On the boots on the ground.
Already.
Yeah, shit. This is what it look like for me out here right now.
Well, shit, I'm happy to hear you, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Same here, bro. Same here. Yeah, this the last one. It's Saturday. Trying to get trying to get to the house, man.
Yeah. It's my birthday, bro. October 1st.
Oh, today, that's right. Happy birthday, dog.
I'm out here doing the show.
Yeah, man, he's supposed to be getting some kitty cat. What old
Nope.
boy say? He's supposed to be getting some of them pibbity paps right now.
No comment on that.
Hey, look here. Any of you good looking tenders out there, if y'all listening live on the show, you know, hit that old light skinned brother up, man. It's his B-Day, man. Let him do something, you know. Let him smell it.
Yeah, man.
The following
Bro, I was talking about this chick, Katie Helper. I don't know if you know about her or that show, Useful Idiots. But she also did segments on this other show on The Hill Rising. And she got fired this week, and basically because she did a segment about Israel being. I'm muted. Can y'all hear me? Hold on. Can y'all hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, bro, I didn't catch nothing you said. Either I don't know what happened.
It's all
I
good.
lost out. I could see your lips moving, but I couldn't hear nothing.
It's all good. I'm saying that what I've been talking about and what I'm gonna play this clip. This is the video. Well, this is the segment that she did that got her fired. And basically she was just talking about Israel being an apartheid state. So, and you know, it just shows how the media is as far as what you can say and what you can't say. And do we have a real free media and all of this? And you see what kind of journalism do we have out here? Because people can't say what they can't, whatever. And then I've been mentioning before, it's like wartime propaganda. So wartime propaganda. So it's a lot of stuff you cannot say. You get fired.
There's no freedom of speech, bro.
Right.
That shit only work for who it's supposed to work for. It don't work for everybody. So,
Well,
you know, and it's crazy.
Well, let me tell you
man.
this. The kicker is this chick is Jewish. That's why this is a big ass story to me, anyways. She's Jewish.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
freedom of speech. Speech ain't free.
Nah.
Yeah, so let me play some of this and then I want to talk about it. This is the let me
monologue is something that I wrote, delivered, and recorded at the Hill. It was then censored, and I was then canceled and fired. Representative Rashida Tlaib has been condemned by some over comments she made about Israel. Here's CNN's Jake Tapper reporting on what the Michigan Democrat said and the response it prompted.
Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib of Michigan facing criticism today from what several of her Jewish colleagues have deemed anti-Semitic comments. Here's what Tlaib, the first Palestinian-American woman to serve in Congress, said at a virtual event yesterday.
I want you all to know that among progressives, it has become clear that you cannot claim to hold progressive values, yet back Israel's apartheid government. And we will continue to push back and not accept this idea that you are progressive except for Palestine any longer.
The CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, slammed the comments, saying that Israel does not have an apartheid government and said that she should not be imposing a, quote, litmus test in a tweet, saying, quote, Tlaib tells American Jews that they need to pass an anti-Zionist litmus test to participate in progressive space. Some of Tlaib's Jewish colleagues in Congress agreed. Florida Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz called her comments, quote, outrageous and, quote, nothing short of anti-Semitic.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz is right. It is outrageous. It's outrageous that Rashida Tlaib is getting attacked. Tlaib is merely stating that Israel is an apartheid state and that people who claim to have progressive values cannot support an apartheid state. No matter how loose a definition of progressive we use, it certainly excludes supporting a racist apartheid system. What's outrageous is attacking Tlaib for pointing out that progressive except for Palestine is an intrinsically contradictory position. What's also outrageous is that the Anti-Defamation League's Jonathan Greenblatt would claim that Israel is not an apartheid government. What's outrageous is that Jake Tapper would accept Greenblatt's judgment as the truth and not propaganda that needed to be pushed back against. I understand that Greenblatt and perhaps Tapper feel like Israel is not an apartheid state, but unfortunately for them, apartheid isn't about your feelings, it's about facts. In 1973, the UN defined the crime of apartheid as any inhuman acts committed for the purpose of establishing and maintaining domination by one racial group of persons over any other racial group of persons and systematically oppressing them. In 1998, the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court defined apartheid as inhumane acts of a character that are committed in the context of an institutionalized regime of systematic oppression and domination by one racial group over any other racial group or groups, and committed with the intention of maintaining that regime. These inhuman acts include, among others, infliction upon the members of a racial group or groups of serious bodily or mental harm by the infringement of their freedom or dignity, or by subjecting them to torture or to cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment, by arbitrary arrest and illegal imprisonment of the members of a racial group or groups, any legislative measures and other measures calculated to prevent a racial group or groups from participation in the political, social, economic, and cultural life of the country, and the deliberate creation of conditions preventing the full development of such a group or groups. In particular, by denying to members of a racial group or groups basic human rights and freedoms, including the right to leave and to return to their country, the right to a nationality, the right to freedom of movement and residence, the right to freedom of opinion and expression, and the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. I'd encourage Jake Tapper to look this up sometime. Here are just a few examples of Israel's apartheid policies. The Law of Return of 1950 allows any Jew, which means anyone with one Jewish grandparent, the right to return to Israel, the right to move to Israel and automatically become citizens of Israel. It gives their spouses that right too, even if they're not Jewish, though if they're Palestinian, that's another issue entirely. Palestinians, of course, lack that right. The Israeli Citizenship Law of 1952 deprived Palestinian refugees and their descendants of legal status, the right to return, and all other rights in their homeland. It also defined Palestinians present in Israel as Israeli citizens without a nationality and group rights. These laws together obviously fit into the International Criminal Court's apartheid criteria. More recently, the nation-state law established that the fulfillment of the right of national self-determination in the state of Israel is unique to the Jewish people. It demoted Arabic from an official language to a language with special status. It also stipulated the state views Jewish settlement as a national value and will labor to encourage and promote its establishment and development. These are just some of the reasons that human rights organizations have declared Israel an apartheid state. Al-Haq, Al-Mezin Center for Human Rights, Adala, the Legal Center for Arab Minority Rights in Israel, Adamir, Prisoner Support and Human Rights Association, Human Rights Watch, and Amnesty International have all documented Israeli apartheid policies. Israel's own human rights organization, B'Tselem, has declared, the Israeli regime enacts an apartheid regime. B'Tselem divides the way Israeli apartheid works into 4 areas. Land. Israel works to Judaize the entire area, treating land as a resource chiefly meant to benefit the Jewish population. Since 1948, Israel has taken over 90% of the land within the Green Line and built hundreds of communities for the Jewish population. Citizenship. Jews living anywhere in the world, their children and grandchildren and their spouses are entitled to Israeli citizenship. In contrast, Palestinians cannot immigrate to Israeli-controlled areas, even if they, their parents, or their grandparents were born and lived there. Israel makes it difficult for Palestinians who live in one of the units it controls to obtain status in another, and has enacted legislation that prohibits granting Palestinians who marry Israelis status within the Green Line. Freedom of movement. Israeli citizens enjoy freedom of movement in the entire area controlled by Israel and may enter and leave the country freely. Palestinian subjects, on the other hand, require a special Israeli-issued permit to travel between the units and sometimes inside them, and exit abroad also requires Israeli approval. Political participation. Palestinian citizens of Israel may vote and run for office, but leading politicians consistently undermine the legitimacy of Palestinian political representatives. The roughly 5 million Palestinians who live in the occupied territories, including East Jerusalem, cannot participate in the political system that governs their lives and determines their future. I was born in New York City. My great-grandparents and the family before them were from Eastern Europe. I could move to Israel today, buy a house, get a job, travel around with no problem. So could Jake Tapper and Jonathan Greenblatt. But a Palestinian like Rashida Tlaib can't even visit her family home in what is now Israel. This demographic tension is recognized by Israeli officials and politicians who have described their own country as an apartheid state. Former Attorney General Michael Ben-Yair wrote in 2002, "We established an apartheid regime in the occupied territories immediately following their capture. That oppressive regime exists to this day." Zahava Galon, former chair of Israel's Meretz party, said in 2006, Israel was relegated to the level of an apartheid state. In 2007, Israel's former education minister, Shulamit Aloni, wrote, "The state of Israel practices its own quite violent form of apartheid with the native Palestinian population." In 2008, former Environment Minister Yossi Sarid said, "What acts like apartheid, is run like apartheid, and harasses like apartheid is not a duck, it is apartheid." In 2015, former Mossad chief Meir Dagan said, President Benjamin Netanyahu's policies are leading to either a binational state or an apartheid state. Even Israel's prime ministers have used the A word. In a recently published 1976 interview, assassinated Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin said, "If we don't want to get to apartheid, I don't think it's possible to contain over the long term 1.5 million more Arabs inside a Jewish state." In 2007, yet another prime minister, Ehud Olmert, warned, "If the day comes when the two-state solution collapses and we face a South African-style struggle for equal voting rights, then as soon as that happens, the state of Israel is finished." Prime Minister Ehud Barak said in 2010, "As long as in this territory west of the Jordan River, there is only one political entity called Israel, it is going to be either non-Jewish or non-democratic. If this bloc of millions of Palestinians cannot vote, that will be an apartheid state." But there is no other standard more universally respected in defining apartheid, not the UN, not the International Criminal Courts, not human rights organizations, not Israeli prime ministers, than the people of South Africa who lived under the system of apartheid. After all, apartheid is an Afrikaans word. It means apartness. It was the official policy in South Africa from 1948 to 1994, allowing white South Africans in the minority to rule over and discriminate against the vast majority of Black South Africans. The definitions from the United Nations and the International Criminal Court come out of their experiences. In 1997, Nelson Mandela said, "The UN took a strong stand against apartheid, and over the years, an international consensus was built, which helped to bring an end to this iniquitous system. But we know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians." In 2013, Desmond Tutu recalled being struck by the similarities between what he experienced in apartheid South Africa and what he observed in Israel.
"I have visited the occupied Palestinian territories and have witnessed the humiliation of Palestinians at Israeli military checkpoints, the inhumanity that won't let ambulances reach the injured, farmers tend their land, or children attend school. This treatment is familiar to me and the many Black South Africans who were corralled and harassed by the security forces of the apartheid government."
Listen to South Africa's Minister for International Relations, Naledi Pandor, addressing the United States General Assembly just last week.
"While we work to address contemporary conflicts, we should not ignore long-standing conflicts, such as that of the people of Palestine, which has been on the United Nations agenda throughout the 7 decades of existence of this organization. We cannot ignore the words of the former Israeli negotiator at the Oslo talks, Daniel Levy, who addressed the UN Security Council recently and referred to the increasingly weighty body of scholarly, legal, and public opinion that has designated Israel to be perpetrating apartheid in the territories under its control.
To my fellow Jews, to my friends in the Democratic Party who want to support Israel and think of themselves as progressive, it is important to look at what Israeli law today does, what the lived experiences of Palestinians today means as defined under international law, and what our friends from South Africa have long pointed out. But we should not stop there. South Africans didn't just define apartheid, they dismantled it. Instead of attacking Rashida Tlaib for her candor, her critics should ask themselves how Israeli apartheid could be dismantled. What would a post-apartheid country look like? Lashana Tova.
Okay, so that was really good. I don't know. I had to play the whole thing because it's like now you see why she got fired. Because it was really good. It was well done. Well done. She wrapped it up with the apartheid in Africa, South Africa, and used the Desmond Tutu quote. Come on, man. And the part where
It
she
was
said, wait, hold on, let me say this. The part where she said she was Jewish and she can go, 3 generations ago, they was born here in New York, but she could go back to Israel and get a house and a job and be good. She said, but Rashida Tlaib can't even go visit her grandma and that's living in the house that she lived in.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. But yeah, that's why she got fired, because the shit was good. It was factual reporting. It was journalism at its finest. And the fact that she exposed the truth, bro. They would rather you lie than to ever tell the truth.
Yep.
That's the system that we live under. You tell the truth, you know what I'm saying? You're done for. Like, what? How dare you?
Yep. How dare you tell the truth? And in a concise and clear way with evidence to back it up. How dare you make a good point, a good argument? You're fired. You did your job way too well. Now what you gonna do, dumbass?
You're creating this hysteria.
It's like, how smart are you, dumbass? Now you ain't got no revenue. You ain't got no income, dumbass.
Yeah.
You ain't that smart. That's what be killing me. I be thinking about that, and it's like the society that we live in. It's like the smart guy. It's like, it's like, I'll punch you in your eye. Now, how smart are you? With your you want to go figure stuff out and do equations and stuff. You want to do problem solving with your smart ass, with reading books and shit. Get out of here.
Yeah. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
It's like that, right? It's really like that.
Yeah, I mean, you see it in school with the book. That shit start at an early age in kids when they bully when they bully other kids, the smart kid, the kid that they consider a geek.
And the popular kids, they, even if they're smart, they play dumb because that's how they're supposed to be, because they're to be popular so everybody can like them and shit. So they you play kind of dumb, and it's really bothers me so much because our society, it's like some of us are playing stupid, but I think after a while, I mean, so you're dumbing yourself down regardless. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You gotta work that muscle out, work that mind muscle out.
Man, fuck that, bro. I rather march to my own tune, bro, than to dummy myself down. Like, fuck that. Why should I lower myself? You know what I'm saying? For people that don't want to rise up to where I am. Fuck that. It's either you on my level or you ain't. It is what it is. I'm not finna dummy myself down just to be your friend.
Yeah, and I know you, so I wonder, like, you probably dealt with this before in your life, like, talking to people and like they really just like don't understand. Like, what I mean is like they're not on your level. Like, you can't really communicate with them.
Nah, I really can't, bro. Like, that's why I honestly don't really have, like, I have one true friend. Like, I really don't, because like most people that I'm around, they don't understand this shit. They don't understand the angle that I'm coming from. They don't understand the conversations. It's like I start having that conversation immediately. It's like crickets. They just get quiet. And don't let me be with my wife, dude. She's like, oh my God. She's like, I just want you. She's like, I know where you're going, but can you just be quiet? Because like these people don't understand that shit. Like they like you seem pretty aggressive and angry to them. I'm like, for telling the fucking truth. She's like, yeah, but you don't get it. Like everybody's not on the same thing. And everybody doesn't understand. And I'm like, fuck them.
They need to understand. You gonna understand today. You gonna learn today.
Yeah.
At least like I think your wife is right because as far as like I guess it's a time and a place for everything, but I think that being able to kind of guide the conversation sometimes, or at least like plant some seeds here and there, try not to be too aggressive. That's how I do it over time. It still doesn't matter. So, but maybe you plant a little seed here and there. Maybe the conversation will come back around or something like. But that's why I don't include myself, and that's why I can't even really talk to them because what they're talking about sports, talking about the dude that got injured playing football or something like. I'm like I just. Yeah. And that's what I was thinking about today. I went to a bar at lunch and I had a tea and a shrimp po' boy. But I was looking at the screen and I'm looking at the sports, and I was thinking about how like all the restaurants everywhere you go that's like that, public type places, the only thing that's ever on TV is like the sports. Like I wonder
Sports or news.
Yeah, but most places don't really they don't really show the news most places like casual type settings like restaurants and stuff because the
Yeah.
news would cause problems
Yeah.
What they say, no politics, no religion.
Yeah.
So but I think about it, I wonder if it's like that in other countries, and I think about how what kind of world do we live in, or what kind of society do we live in, because it's like the playing with balls. It's like kids playing with balls. It's grown ass men playing with balls. But it's like, when you really think about it, it's really just a distraction, right? Like it's like people don't want to, you know, have something that's profound and meaningful on the television. They rather just have, what's the latest game, the latest ball game on, just to be like, detached, separated
Yep.
from what's actually going on, you know?
Oh
And
yeah.
maybe, and the other side that I think about that is it's like, okay, well, okay, over here in America, it's supposed to be that these people are living over here so good. They're living so good that, they're not concerned with all of that stuff, and like freaking they're concerned with, LeBron. Is LeBron gonna play another season so they can bet on him, or watch him play at, in the stadium or something, like, like their way of thinking is like, this is what they're concerned with. You get what I'm saying? Like that's what's exciting. That's what gets them going.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, and that's what people want to talk. And I mean, in a sense, I kind of get it. Like, especially, come on, I get it. Like, especially like if you're in that bar setting, like if you're at the bar, you're trying to decompress. You know what I'm saying. You probably had a rough week. So I mean, I kind of get it in that instance. It's kind of like, but yeah, I prefer more so the places that have sections. You know what I'm saying? Where you and your group of people can kind of just be at one, in that little section, and y'all order drinks, and y'all can have those kind of conversations, because a lot at the bar, you're trying to hold that type of conversation with somebody that's at the bar. 9 times out of 10, they're just like, whatever, dude. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I get
You
it.
know,
Like I said before, like the time and place for everything. But what I'm
yeah,
saying is like it don't have to be intense. It could be National Geographic on TV. Something educational.
yeah.
It don't
So,
have to be politics or
yeah, but
religion.
Yeah, I think in those places, man, they try to stay more so neutral. You know what I'm saying? Like they try to stay neutral. I think that's probably why, like in places like that. I mean, like you may like, like if that's just like you go to like Buffalo Wild Wings and shit. Every TV is showing sports, because that's essentially what it is—a sports bar.
Yeah,
You know,
that's what they're
so
going there for. But I'm saying it's everywhere. It's everywhere you go. That's what it is. And it's like the ESPN is the most watched network in the States. In other countries, it's a news network is the most watched network.
yeah,
We watch sports and we basically tune out, or we tune into sports and we tune out of reality.
yeah, yeah. But that's why most Americans are way behind on shit, and that's why most of them feed into the narrative that they put on us. You know, the narrative that's out there, because they don't pay attention, because of the fact that they don't open their minds and challenge themselves to say, hey, let's watch the news outside of the states. You know, let's watch the news where they're actually doing actual journalism. You know, most people don't care, dude.
I want to read some of the comments. The first comment, it says, I'm from South Africa and we will not be truly free until Palestinians are free as well. I salute you, Katie Helper, and others in the U.S. for calling out those who oppose to be progressive but support apartheid Israel. Many of these progressives live in South Africa too. hmm So basically, what it is that, okay, the whole thing was Rashida Tlaib was saying that you can't be progressive and support Israel's apartheid, and they got mad at her for saying that, and so because of that, Katie Helper made a segment about it, and that led to her losing her position. Let me read another comment. It says, Yay, Katie. I'm an Armenian who has traveled in the Middle East. I saw it for myself. You're a hero. There are good people everywhere, and Palestinians count as people. Great radar. Another comment. I'm amazed they let you put this up, Katie. Thank you for casting light. They didn't let her put it up. She put it up herself. She worked through what is it? Breakthrough News, and they worked with her to put it out. So that's basically like independent. Hopefully they get views. This got 10K views. Like this. I don't know. But good thing that, it's really about the message. It's about the journalism. So good that, that's the reason why I play it. And I'm going to play some more of this. Oh, I played the whole thing already. Yeah. I had to play it because I think it's important. That's why she did it, because it's important, not because of the money. Let me read some more comments. I done lost my spot.
Hey, Chuck, I'm still here, but I've got some noise going on in the background, so I'm gonna chime back in.
All right. It says we need more Katie Helpers and Abby Martins. Thank you, Katie. Yeah, if y'all don't watch Abby Martin, she's something to hear for sure. No matter what, if you agree with her or not, check her out. I don't agree with everything that she says. She's really passionate. Super. She be on the ground. She does real journalism. And at the risk of her life and everything, she left a badass job with, like, I don't know, Wall Street Journal. I don't remember. She left a job from a real big ass fucking. She would be rich as hell right now today. But instead, she's doing this independent stuff, and I'm sure she gets by, but she would be literally rich. Let me read some more. It says, being on the Hill is no badge of honor. Getting kicked off is. Another comment, it says, the United States should end military aid to Israel. 1. Israel can pay for its own military. Israel has a strong economy, an excellent international credit rating, and runs frequent budget surplus. Israel ran an annual surplus of more than $1 billion 6 out of the last 10 years. Number 2, military aid to Israel is a security risk. Israel is a major supplier of military technology to China. These sales have been instrumental in the modernization of Chinese military. Israel developed the Lavi fighter from American technology with $1.5 billion in American subsidies. Israel sold the Lavi fighter to China. It is now called the J-10 and is the mainstay of the Chinese Air Force. Israel has also sold China missiles guidance systems, advanced radar systems, and targeting systems. Number 3, Israel is a diplomatic liability. Number 4, hold on, I lost it. What happened? The whole thing disappeared. What the fuck did I do? Okay, oh wait, let me go back. Number 4, military aid to Israel is illegal under the Lehi law of Israel's human rights violations. Any aid to Israel is illegal under the Symington Amendment, which prohibits aid to nations with nuclear weapons that have not signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and do not permit inspections of their nuclear sites. This is by John Smith. C. John Smith, that's who posted that. I'm 100% sure that's not his real name. It's an agent. Let me read another one. It says, I trust you much more now that they canceled you. So happy to hear you saying all this. Another one, it says, Katie Helper speaking truth to power. Thank you for excellent reporting. Journalistic integrity is such a rare commodity these days. Well done indeed. Katie, your heart is pure. You took a stand for what is right and you were punished for it. The monologue cuts so deep, they would never let you publish it. I hope you have the strength to keep fighting the good fight. Another one, it says, I just subscribed to your channel. So proud of you. I'm a Palestinian, and from the bottom of my heart, I truly love you, sister. My family live and are affected every day of their lives by Israel's apartheid policies. No one dare tell me their experience isn't not real. Thank you, Katie, for your courage, your voice on behalf of my family who have no voice. It's real people. It's real people, man. You look at these news stories and they be talking about Palestine and then they be talking about missiles and explosions and I don't know, a raid at a mosque and all of this stuff. And it's like, it just seems so far away and so like a movie, but no, it's real and those are real people involved. Real people. If you met them and chopped it up with them, you'd be like, damn, that's fucked up. But it's so easy for you to get caught up in the propaganda, the wartime propaganda that we live in, where they just tell you whatever the hell. And you just take it in because they're not telling you the story. But you want to believe it. The Brazilian election is going to be something I'm going to be covering. That's going to be really interesting. I'm going to come back to that. But we got Jimmy Dore. I kind of wanted to talk about that. I was really onto this Katie Helper story, man. It's really interesting to me. It shows what's up. This is a thing that you're supposed to read between the lines and really try to understand what's happening. This is a clue, this story right here. That's why I covered it, And the lady, she's Jewish, okay? That's a very key freaking factor, okay? And she's calling Israel an apartheid state. and she got fired for doing this segment. These are all clues, you know? And then it's like, so who's running the show? You know, it's like, what is free speech? Do we have free speech? And how many people, anyone in the news media will have the nuts to do a segment like that? Anybody willing to freaking back her up on that shit? That's what we should wait and see right now, because this stuff just happened recently. So let's see if anybody comes out and be like, man, that's messed up that they fired Katie Hepburn. Like some people that's in politics, like some politicians, official people. Anybody gonna stand on it? Stand by her? We'll see. What's her name? This chick from Italy. Oh yeah, let me cover this right quick. This is another Go Black to Africa video. Fucking you know, that chick, she is she's basically a fascist for real, like no lie, you know. And she's the prime minister of Italy now, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't tell some truth. She's saying some truth in this clip, and it's about France. And so you got some bickering going on between these countries. And that's what I was saying before. Like, me and Pat was talking about it, and it was like the whole thing with the pipeline and it getting cold this winter, and how these damn different European countries are going to be bickering with each other, because really it's like the inflation is pressing on everybody, but then they got this extra added issue related to the freaking natural gas, you know. And Europe always fights with each other. You know, a lot of people talk about World War I or World War II. There's people that say they call that a European Civil War, both of them, that they were actually European civil wars. And it's like, it's crazy how they teach you history. It's crazy because we all call it World War I and World War II, but it was a lot of parts of the world that wasn't involved in this. So it wasn't a world war. Okay, it was the European countries that were at war with each other. So that they called it a world war, but it was a whole bunch of other countries that had nothing to do with it. And, you know, there was no fighting happening there either. OMG. You talking about a mind fuck right there. Go black. Africa.
Go black to Africa. So, Italy went bro-ham on France. Got pissed off because France called them some terrible names. Watch this video and I'll be back.
I'm going to read the captions. It says, disgusting is France that continues to exploit Africa by printing money to 14 African countries, charging them mint fees.
Continua a sfruttare l'Africa stampando moneta per 14 nazioni africane sulle quali applica il signoraggio,
and by children labor in the mines, and by extracting raw materials as it happening in Niger.
Lavorare bambini nelle miniere, estraendo materie prime come accade in Niger, dove la Francia estrae il 30%.
Where France extracts 30% of the uranium it needs to run its nuclear reactors, while 90% of Niger's population lives without electricity.
Dell'uranio che gli serve a far camminare le centrali nucleari e il 90% dei nigerini vive senza elettricità. Non ci venite.
Do not come to teach us lessons, Macron. The Africans are abandoning their continent because of you.
A fare lezioni, Macron, perché l'Africa scappa da voi. Emmanuel Macron ci ha definiti
Emmanuel Macron described us as disgusting, cynics, and irresponsible.
Cinici, irresponsabili. E qui la stampa italiana.
And here the Italian press began to ask, "Did you hear what Macron said about us? He said we're irresponsible. What a shame."
Dire, hai visto che ha detto Macron, che siamo irresponsabili. Vergogna. Irresponsabile Emmanuel Macron sono quelli.
She says, "The irresponsible Emmanuel Macron are those who bombed Libya because they were concerned that Italy would obtain important energy concessions with Gaddafi." Let me read this again because I stumbled over that. He says, "The irresponsible Emmanuel Macron are those who bombed Libya because they were concerned that Italy would obtain important energy concessions with Gaddafi."
Che hanno bombardato la Libia perché gli dava fastidio che l'Italia avesse un rapporto privilegiato in campo energetico con Gheddafi, esponendo
And left us facing the chaos of illegal immigration we are facing now.
al caos migrazione nel quale ci troviamo. Cinici Emmanuel Macron.
The cynics, Emmanuel Macron, are the French who send the gendarmerie to return any immigrant trying to cross the border in Ventimiglia.
Sono i francesi che mandano la gendarmerie a rispedire indietro qualunque immigrato tenti di passare il confine a Ventimiglia. Ma soprattutto,
and most of all, and because things have to be said right,
perché le cose vanno raccontate come si deve, vomitevole e chi buono, che lo vuoi tu? Ci hai mai tolto il pathos?
It goes back into the beginning of the clip where it says, "Disgusting is France that continues to exploit Africa by printing money to 14 African countries, charging them with mint fees." It's gonna replay that clip and then he's gonna come in.
Non accettiamo lezioni! Chiaro?
What do you think? Isn't it interesting that when you find European countries who get upset at each other, they will come out and share the dirt? Isn't it amazing that nobody says anything about who's coming into Africa, rape, robbing, and pillaging until they start to fight amongst each other? Now, what she was talking about, like her country was innocent in the treatment of Africa, I want you to go ahead and see what recently just happened in Italy when they killed a Nigerian. He was a food vendor. One of the Italians killed a food vendor. The video is out there on YouTube. And also, too, one of the issues with people out in the street that were protesting, too, was that African woman, she was slapped in the face because the owner of a restaurant owed her money and he didn't want to pay her back. Look at this right here behind me. This is Africa. This is the same pictures that I had painted in Tanzania of why Africans are being taken advantage of because of their own ignorance. Because we can't promote our own children. Because we think that like Italy and France is the place to go, or America. But let me tell you this right here. We have to get to a place to where what she's saying, we run to Italy and Spain, and she wants to blame fault against France why Africans are going over into her country because of the bombing of Gaddafi, because of the 14 African countries that France make the money for these African countries and cause a destabilization in their economies, which is true. But I don't have any newfound feelings for Italy because they want to expose France, because the music has been the same for many of years. Yes, these European countries are taking advantage of Africa, and people need to wake up and realize that. But we'll never realize it until we do things like this. Paint them back black, daycare, and then that we will be able to empower our school children who are walking by this every day, that they are their future, that they don't have to rely on an education system outside of the country, that they don't have to go and get their degrees and then come back and don't get paid for what they're worth. So Italy, thanks for exposing France, but you're exposed too, because your hands are not clean in this situation. Because yes, you may be upset because you are receiving immigrants in your country and your people don't like it. And your people are starting to show their true colors of being frustrated, of seeing immigrants coming in. But you want to cast the blame. But what part have you been playing in this whole scheme of things of underpaying immigrants, abuses that goes in your country against immigrants? All of these Western countries' hands are dirty and still dirty. And until our children are able to see that we should be men and women enough to stand on our own 2 feet, is only when they will build a confidence that they're able to do right by their own countries. I don't blame people if you have dysfunctional governments that can't handle simple business and people feel as though they got to escape to go to other countries. But I'm saying to the youth, you are the opportunity, not some other country. Because what most are finding when they go to these European countries, they're working twice as hard. Though they're making more money, that money goes very, very little to where you think it will go. Yes, you'll be able to send some crumbs back home to mom and dad, but you know you're living 10 deep in an apartment. You know that you are barely making ends meet, because I've been in those countries and interviewed many of the diaspora in other countries. And many say they're overworked, underpaid, and mistreated. And that some say it was the worst decision they made. So you need to go back to Africa.
Go back to Africa. Let me read some comments. It says, she's not wrong. I just got back from Benin, a French territory. It's unbelievable how that country is looking. I was there a few months ago too, and I couldn't believe it. France isn't doing a thing there. Hardly anyone speaks English. Not that it's better, but you would have expected more. If I had to take a guess, 90% of the country isn't developed. I'm really surprised France is able to get away with this for this long, but you can't tell Africans anything, LOL. Damn, I didn't understand nothing what she was saying, bro. I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry I even read that. Let me read another comment. It says, Ohio, thanks for pointing out the unbelievable reality of what is going on in a broad daylight. Shaking my head. Keep on sharing what time it is. Another one, it says, France will be like Romania if it wasn't for Africa. Another comment, keep educating our people. God will reward you. I hope Africa will wake up and learn from their mistakes. Still blessed. Another comment, everybody uses us until something is said them, the users. Yes, we got to open our eyes much wider. It's a damn shame on us. We are sabotaged in many areas of our life. Everyone wants to keep us in bondage. Money, 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 money. Let me see. Italy is correct, but not innocent. Another comment. It's a game. France does the actual stealing, risk-taking. Germany does the conception, Nazi policy, while Italy does marketing, immigration propaganda. Spain does the process. It's a juicy game since they can't apparently stand on their own feet. I don't know about all that. There is a certain amount of cooperation related to it, but that's conspiracy theory area right there. Let me read another one. It says, I'm very surprised you're aware of FCFA. Go Black. Thank you. I am from Cameroon, just like yourself, based on your DNA. Have been following for more than a year now, and I really appreciate all the light you put on Africa. Thank you. Yeah, man. My fucking eyes. This light is shining in my eyes.
Yeah, yeah. Now, if it's one of them situations, then yeah, I turn the volume up. Yeah.
Check this post out. It says $10 Uber ride is greater than $3K for an ambulance. It says people are calling Uber to be taken to the emergency room instead of ambulances. What do you think about that?
Shoot, man. Hey, I don't blame him. I got a buddy of mine. He's a veteran, and he gets VA benefits, and he got a five-mile ride from his house to the hospital, to the VA hospital, and they charged him $1,600, and the VA won't cover it because they say he make too much money.
Mm.
And this dude served the country. He fought in Desert Storm. He served the country, fought war, got injured, got brain trauma. You know, he ain't all there, but yeah, he's a driver. He has his own business, got his own authority. He makes really good money. You know, got his own authority. He hauls his own freight. You know, stuff like that. And
They said
yeah,
he got to pay that bill.
they told him that he has to pay the $1,600 5 mile. Actually, it wasn't even 5 miles. It was 4.3 miles from his house to the VA hospital, and it's $1,600. And the VA told him that they won't pay for it because he don't qualify because he makes too much money. And he like, yeah, I wasn't saying that when I signed up to serve the country, and I got
Bust all in the head and shit.
yeah.
And now I can't even get a damn ambulance to the hospital. That's
Yeah, he
four
still got
four
shrapnel
miles
in
down
his
the road.
head. Man, he was telling me, he was like, he still got shrapnel in his head. Like, he was like, the metal. He was like, man, there's he can shake his head and shake his head and hear the metal moving around in there. I'm like, damn.
It says, imagine thinking our healthcare system doesn't need to be completely overhauled. Another comment says, and what they pay those EMT drivers adds insult to injury. Shaking my head. It
Yeah.
says, it's sad that our society is filled with people and systems designed to prey on others.
Yeah. It's that medical for profit, man. Everything is about profit, a profit margin, the bottom line, and that's why I be preaching, man. I mean, yeah, you make everybody, you could be the healthiest person in the world. You may fall sick and need an ambulance to take you to the ER. Nobody's around. I get that. But we also, we have to try to make those better choices in life to avoid that shit, man, as much as we can, because we already know the system, how the system is set up. We know that everything is for profit, and if you don't have the proper health insurance and things of that nature, and don't, and it's not even so much as the health insurance, because they still want their money up front before your health insurance kick in, and you need a major surgery, you may not can't get it, you know. So it's like, man, that's why I'm just like I've been on that with trying to help myself by making better choices. You know what I'm saying? Because like the job I have, good job, but our insurance, to be honest with you, our insurance sucks, bro. The insurance that we have here, it sucks. You
And it's
know,
probably expensive as hell too.
yeah, it's expensive and it sucks, and we spend a lot of money out of pocket. You know, we spend a lot of money out of pocket before the insurance will cover anything. And I got one of the higher plans that they offer. It's not the highest, but it's the one just under the highest plan that they offer. So if somebody go in there and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna be cheap and just get the little cheaper plan," if you ever have a major medical emergency, you fucked, because that insurance sucks. You know, but that's why I say, man, you know, we have to try to do better, man, make better choices, you know, with what we're doing in our everyday life, especially if you know that you can't afford to be sick like that and be in the hospital and have to deal with, you know, hospital bills, medical bills, you know, afford the medications and stuff. You know, man, we got to try to make better choices, man. We got to be preventative
And that's basically
on our
everyone.
own.
That's
Yeah, that's
basically
on our own. That's everyone. Yeah, because you never know. Like I said, you can still be healthy and get sick. But what I'm saying, man, if you do your part and try to prevent yourself from getting to that point, you know. But yeah, man, the system is fucked up, bro. Everything is for profit, you know, and we know that, you know, so we have to do better within our everyday lives, you know, and a ambulance ride is not cheap. It's very expensive. You know, and you're right. The EMTs, they don't. EMT don't make no money, bro. They don't make no. They don't make no hellified money. People that do that, dude, they got a passion for that, but they don't make no hellified money. You know,
it's all of the
as an
social
EMT.
services programs. People don't make money. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
You know. Firefighters do all right, but they not like paid either.
Mm-mm. No, no, none of the, like you say, none of the social service and social industries like that. They pay from teachers, firefighters, policemen. Uh, you know, I mean, the policemen are starting to get treated a little fairly. You know, there's certain depending on which county they in or which
I was looking
department
at
they
the
work
list. Them
for. You
motherfuckers
know,
be making money. If they sergeant or whatever, them motherfuckers making loot.
yeah. Well, then too, you know, also with with being a policeman, you can get those side jobs. You know, side security jobs that pay good. You know, so I mean, you got a different hustle. You know, when you're a police. But like I say, man, most EMTs, man, a lot of them don't make a whole lot. You know,
Yeah.
and
So
then
like,
the sad part about it too, with being an EMT, you know, they can get sued for damn near anything, bro. You know, so you got to be real careful. That's why they try to be real careful when they, you know, dealing with a patient when they go out to a call, because they can be
yeah,
sued for anything.
because like if you can refuse service, they can't force. Um, they can't provide you service if you refuse service.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just crazy, man. You know, but yeah.
Let me read this one. It says, "My girlfriend regularly tells me if free public libraries didn't already exist and someone tried to invent them, they would be condemned as a socialist plot, and I think about that a lot." What do you think? And basically, they're saying if somebody was trying to come up with the idea of free libraries today,
Yeah,
how
I can
would
see
people
that.
react?
I can see that because they're closing down libraries left and right. I can see that.
Yep. And they're making it harder. It's less access. That just shows what the hell, man, is going on. Freaking, I love libraries. Like being able to go in the library, take the kids to the library. It's a free little outing you can do. And no matter what, they could say that they ain't gonna have a good time, but you take them up in there, they're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the library when I was a kid, that was like I would escape. That big library they got in downtown, we used to stay up in that sucker. Especially when they got computers in there too with the internet.
Yeah. Not only that, it's like hot outside. Just the simple fact of going into a cool place where they're not gonna kick you out.
Yeah. And they used to have all kind of programs within the library, like especially like in the summertime, they had different programs like camps for kids and stuff like that. But
So it's less and
yeah,
less and less
there
and
you
less of
go.
that.
Yeah, that goes to show you that they're not taking our tax dollars and using it for something good that can educate.
Because all we would need is some really cool libraries that the kids could go and hang out in and learn shit. Let them watch YouTube videos and do whatever they want to do. That'd probably be better than school.
Probably so, man.
Have whatever books available. Have whatever, like, you know, the latest technology type stuff available for them to just mess with. Totally free.
Oh yeah.
But no, you're a communist. Damn commie. Wanting free libraries. You're a Marxist commie. You should just go to Russia. This damn clip shows a wave came over. It says this is in South Beach. And it washed some people right into the freaking... I don't know what they were doing.
Park Ranger 260, we need some rescue here. We got a big wave that dropped about 5 people into the wave, so the government cut.
I copy. Ocean rescue back to the government cut area. We need some police.
I hope those people can swim. That's why everybody needs to know how to swim.
Oh shit. Park Ranger 260, we need some rescue here. We got a big wave that dropped.
Then you got those rocks. They all had to bump over those rocks too. That shit could have knocked your ass.
I copy. Ocean rescue back to the government cut area.
And if they don't know how to swim, they out of there.
Yeah, buddy.
Everybody needs to learn how to swim, man. And people be like, I don't want to get in the water. I can't drink all that water.
Yes, sir.
Something right here. I wanted to do the Putin one, but I don't feel like reading because that's gonna have. I think it's gonna have captions in that. Let me see this. Let me see this. Right here.
Ответственность перед мировым сообществом.
Oh, this is
И
the
сделать
one.
все, чтобы привести.
That's the very one I was thinking about that I clicked on. So what is this other one? The Russia RT network. It says Putin signs treaties. Hold on. Let's start it over. Putin signs treaties on breakaway regions joining Russia.
Yeah.
Look at his face.
That's crazy. Oh man.
This is a big deal though.
3 a.m.
So those parts will be, those regions will be a part of Russia now.
What regions were those?
Those were some of those regions of Ukraine that were fighting against Ukraine. Like basically, Ukraine was having like a civil war before Russia got involved, because it was parts of the country that felt oppressed and didn't want to be a part of them. And these were mostly ethnic Russians, like Russian-speaking peoples. And so Russia, that's why Russia jumped in, because they're like, bro, y'all not finna just do this to these people. These are Russians. So, and then those, because of the war and everything going on, those regions they voted to become a part of Russia. They was like, it's not like Russia taking over them. It's more like them saying, hey, we don't want to be a part of Ukraine anymore. We want to be a part of Russia now. Through democratic ways. Let me read it. It says, President Putin has signed treaties on the inclusion of two Donbass republics, as well as Kherson and Zaporizhzhia regions, marking the start of their formal accession to Russia. The four territories held referendums on the issue between September 23rd and 27th after declaring their independence, with heavy majorities voting to join Russia. The treaties will now be submitted to Russia's constitutional court before being ratified by the parliament, a process that is expected to be completed in early October. Yeah, so that's really a big deal. It really is. So the way the West is going to see that as aggression, they're going to see that as Russia is taking over territory. And then that's what everybody been saying the whole time. Russia just wants to take over Ukraine. So, but then these people voted. So, but then they're going to say, no, that somehow it was rigged. You know, he forced them to do that.
Yeah, the Western news media.
This says, Putin said Western elites are teaching sexual deviation to children who change their gender. We're fighting to protect our children and grandchildren from this experiment, he added. We will protect our values and our motherland from the satanic West.
Dang it.
I'm gonna go ahead and read this.
Россия понимает свою ответственность перед мировым сообществом и сделает все, что Россия понимает свою ответственность
Russia
перед мировым
understands its
сообществом и сделает
responsibility to
все,
the
чтобы
world
привести
community
в
and will
чувство
do
такие
everything to
горячие
bring
головы.
such.
Очевидно, что нынешняя
It is clear that the
неоколониальная
current
модель в конечном
neo-colonial model
счете
is ultimately
обречена.
doomed, but I
Но
repeat
повторю,
that
что
her
ее
real
реальные
owners will
хозяева
cling
будут
to her
до
in the end.
конца цепляться за
They
нее.
simply
Им
have nothing to offer the
просто
world
нечего
except for
предложить миру,
preservation of
кроме
some system
сохранения
of
все той же
robberies
системы
and
грабежей и рабов.
racketeering.
По сути, они
In
плюют на
fact,
естественное
they spit
право
on the natural
миллиардов
right of
людей,
billions of
большей
people
части
and
человечества,
most of
на свободу и
humanity
справедливость.
to
На то, чтобы
freedom and
самим
justice, to determine their own future on their own. Now they have completely moved to radical denial of moral norms, religion, and family. Let's answer some very simple questions for ourselves. I now want to return to what I said, want to address the citizens of the country. Not only those colleagues who are in the hall, to all the citizens of Russia, do we want to have here in our country, in Russia, instead of a mother and a father, parent number one, number two, number three? Are they completely crazy? Do we really want perversions that lead to degradation and extinction to be imposed on children in our schools, from the primary grades, to be drummed into them that they're supposedly other genders besides women and men, and to be offered a sex change operation? Do we want all of this for our country and our children? For us, all this is unacceptable. We have our own future. I repeat, the dictatorship of the Western elites is directed against all societies, including the peoples of the Western countries. This is a challenge for everyone. Such a complete denial of a man, the overthrow of faith and traditional values, the suppression of freedom acquires the features of a reverse religion, outright Satanism. In the Sermon of the Mount, Jesus Christ denounced the false prophets, says, "By their fruits you will know them." And these poisonous fruits are already obvious to people, not only in our country, including in many people and in the West itself. Russia understands its responsibility to the world community and will do everything to bring such hotheads to their senses. It is clear that the current neo-colonial model is ultimately doomed, but I repeat, the real owners will cling to her in the end. Okay, that's the repeat of it. Heavy words. What do you think? You there, Deuce?
Yeah, I'm here, bro. I'm here. I'm listening. I'm just driving. I'm listening though.
You heard what he was saying?
Yeah, about the evils of the Western world, and they're taking back their images of their people.
Yep.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. He's like, he wants to protect his people from the influences of the West,
Yeah, exactly.
especially related to like the transgender stuff.
Yeah, see, they have that kind of. They can go against that kind of stuff over there, whereas over here it's like taboo or it's forbidden for you to speak against that community of people.
Yeah. One of the problems I have though is whenever they start speaking lines from the Bible or start mentioning religion or something, that's when I automatically be like, okay, wait, hold on. What's going on here?
Uh-huh. That's crazy,
Because
man.
because when you start talking like that, then the thing is a lot of people can't really argue with you. If they're religious or, like they believe in God, they're Christian or whatever the hell, or Muslim or whatever, they're Jewish, it's like, well, we can't argue with this guy. He's using scripture. So what do you think about Putin and basically he's saying he's protecting his people from the West, the Western influences, taken away from traditional families or whatever.
Shoot, I mean, I big up him for that, man. I mean, because that's the narrative. Like we're getting away from that, here. You know, you look at how nowadays how the women are. The women are manly. They're constant. It's just that whole narrative that they pushing, man. Like how they, you know, you have women constantly every day, all day, saying how they don't need men or they don't need this or need that. So the whole traditional family thing is been out the door, bro. And I'm not saying all women are on that, but you got a lot of them that are speaking to that nature, to that. But I don't blame them for that, bro. Like that whole idea of family should be a big thing, and that's something that should be held high, something that should be kept, you know.
Let me read this one. It says, when the hurricane hits Florida, federal aid will flow in to help, paid for by tax dollars from Americans across the country. Airplanes will be full of supplies, not stunts. There will be no us and them, because this is how America should act, and most Americans know it. Dan Rather. You want some? Let me just get you. So what he's saying is, he says when the hurricane hits, the federal aid will flow into help, paid for by tax dollars from Americans across the country. So it's basically like, okay, so the money for like Florida is getting hit by a hurricane right now, and then it turned back into a hurricane and then hit South Carolina too. So the money it'll be federal money that'll come in. And so the federal money comes from taxes collected from people all across the country. But people don't really have a problem with that, really, because they're like, okay, this is like the right thing to do, is basically what he's saying. So it goes back to what I be saying sometimes about like how you see the real true humanity in people when things really hit the fan, when things get crazy, when things are the worst. That's when you see people like they throw these racial issues out the window. They throw their gender issues out the window, whatever it is, They throw all that out the window, and it's like it's another human. I just want to help him. He over there about to drown and shit.
Yeah.
So, but it sucks though, because that's what us. It's beautiful that that's what we are, but how come we can't be that way the rest of the time? Because you know what they say. I don't know if I was reading this or I was talking to somebody somewhere. They said the worst place where you can like get sick or fall out or have a heart attack or like let's say you're in the lobby of the damn you're in the lobby of the hospital and it's a bunch of cardiologists on lunch and you fucking have a heart attack or something. Like basically what they're trying to say is like that's the worst place for it to happen for you. Even though it's in the lobby of the fucking hospital. Because these people are on lunch, these people leaving. It's like like in New York, right? New York or any big city really. You know, it's a whole bunch of people around. And then they say that's the worst place that you could be when you need help because everybody's just going to keep walking by you. Like even if something happened to you or whatever, you fell down or something, like whatever it is, almost everybody is just going to keep walking. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, nah, I got you. I follow you, bro. But I mean, I don't even know if I can even really answer that question, bro. Like why people? I mean, I don't know, bro. I think you have the people that try to be that not try, but they are that way all the time, and then you have people in their everyday lives that just genuinely at that, unless something happened, they're not concerned. But at the end of the day, I do think that people genuinely at their core want to do good by others, or they have a desire to, or just in general, they're good people. Because even the most evil person does nice things at some point. You know what I'm saying? It's just circumstance and what their environment and what they, are dealing with on a day to day basis could sometimes change, you know, how their approach or how they, walk in their everyday lives.
And I think a lot of that has to do with like abuse or whatever. Like it's a reaction to something that already happened to them. You know, they have been broken. You
Yeah.
know, and now they kind of crazy. Like that goes with the disconnect. It's like they're mentally screwed. Because of the traumas that they've been through that they haven't been able to deal with. And in our society, like it doesn't. We don't deal with trauma like in our society.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to even talk about it or whatever.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you're supposed to suck it up and keep it moving. So, but meanwhile, all of us is walking around with these unresolved traumas, and it's festering. With these mental conditions, it probably leads to that disconnect shit that I was talking about earlier in the show. It makes us disconnected mentally, because we haven't dealt with our traumas. And then we're constantly dealing with trauma every day, like more on top of it. Whole new trauma. You know, like they have online, they have the meme, it says new fear unlocked.
Damn, that's crazy, man. Man, yeah. But you got to try to get through it, get around it, man. At some point, but you know, take that initiative, talk about it. But yeah, you're right. We're taught not to actually deal with it, to just whatever, it, you know, it'll be all right.
And what do you think that does to us over time? How do you deal with it? Let me ask you that. Like, how do you deal with your traumas?
Uh, I mean, for the as far as like dealing with traumas and things, like for the longest time, I would always hold it in. You know, I would always hold it in, wouldn't talk about it, like, oh, whatever. You know, it is what it is. You know, and I realized that it was doing more harm to me. You know, and I had a situation where it could have cost me everything, bro. And from that point on, I decided that I was gonna get into counseling. I started going to counseling. I was doing counseling twice a week, one in person, and the other one was a Zoom counseling meeting. And I just started talking about it, bro, and just being in that place to be able to talk to somebody, and just like really just talk and just put it out there and express things that I've been dealing with and shit, from a child all the way up into my adult life, like it's just it was really liberating, man. It was like this weight, just everything was just immediately lifted off of me. Like I felt good, I felt better. And at first I was like, man, I ain't doing no damn counseling. But everybody was like, man, you need to go to counseling, dude. It's not healthy. You gonna fuck around and hurt somebody, kill somebody. Like you need to go to counseling. You got a break. You ain't doing years in jail and this and that, prison. So I took their advice, bro, and I ended up enjoying it, bro. Like I truly ended up enjoying going to therapy and and talking. Like I was happy to meet with my therapist twice a week. You know what I'm saying? And so now what I do is I talk about it. Like I talk about it, like my stress and shit like that. Like I don't hold it in, like I be waiting on my wife to be like, oh, how was your week? Or how was work? This, that. And I lay it on her. Sometimes it be a little heavy, but I lay anybody who asks me, bro, like, cause I just realized like you gotta talk about that shit. You can't hold it in, dude. Like that shit was hurting me more than I even thought it was. I felt like, oh, I'm all right, I'm good, I'm good. But everybody has a trigger, and you never know when that trigger is gonna cross your path and how you gonna react. So that was, But to answer your question, man, like the stress and the traumas that I face throughout the day, while I'm out here, while I'm at work, I deal with it. And and when I go home, I have my ways of decompressing, and I talk it over with my wife. Or you know I have my aunt I have an aunt. You might as well say we like sister and brothers, man. Like I call her and she'll call me because she drives for Metro. So like, we share our stories and we laugh about that shit, bro. We even had moments where we just talking about our stresses throughout the work week, man. And like you're laughing, but you're crying at the same time because it's like, because it feels good. But at the other hand, it's like, damn, man, this can't just be like it. Like, but yeah, that's how I deal with it, bro. I talk about it. Like I don't allow I don't hold it in no more. I don't allow things to what is that word, fester or whatever. Like I speak on it. Like my wife is one that like she'll do something and then or say something and then when I be like, well, what do you mean? Or I want to have a conversation about it. she immediately try to shut down now, and I'm like, nah, bro. Like the man that I am today, like you gotta like if you do something or if I like we gotta talk about it. We gotta have a conversation. I need to hear your point. You hear my point. We can agree to disagree, but that's just how I deal with it. Like I've learned I talk. I'm more verbal. You know, but
I think that's really healthy to be that way. That part of the reason why I do this show. I ain't gonna lie, this show is like my therapy. That's why I get on here and kind of rant sometimes and really
yeah.
get it off my chest because
But
I
then
need
too,
an outlet.
and a lot of times, be honest with you, bro, I stay out the way a lot, man. I really do, bro. Like I stay out the way. I don't. I try to stay away from things or people that I know that's gonna stress me out, that's gonna frustrate me. I stay away from that shit. Like I don't go around them. Like I really I have my guard down a lot, but as well as I'm guarded as well too. Like my energy is everything to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want your like negative vibes. Like that's just like if I'm at home and my wife got a frown on her face, it could really be nothing wrong with her. She just trying to clean up or do something. She got a frown. Like I ain't saying shit to her because I don't want that vibe on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a good mood. You frowned up. I'm gonna get out your way and let you run through the fucking house and drive yourself crazy. But you're not gonna ruin my mood. I'm gonna kick back, have a drink the whole time. Like I've just gotten in that place, bro. Like I try to protect my energy. I try to be, I mean, I have my moments where I'm human. I have my moments where I fuck up. I'm not perfect. I have my moments, but for the most part, bro, I try to stay away from situations and things like that, because my job is stressful enough,
Yeah.
you know. So
Let me
anything else, I'm just
let
fuck
me
it.
ask you this: you heard about Coolio died, right? The rapper
Yeah,
Coolio.
yeah,
And earlier in the show, I was talking about how like it's so many, so many folks dying in their like 50s and 60s in our generation. Like our grandparents lived to their 90s and shit, and our generation is it seems like they all dying in their 50s. A lot of them are not all. They a lot of them are dying in their 50s and 60s.
yeah.
There's a list here. It says DMX 50, Biz Markie 57, Black Rob 52, Shock G 57, Prince Marky D, the Fat Boys 52, Gift of Gab from Black Alicious, Kango Kid UTFO 55, Malik B from The Roots 47, Hub The Roots 62, damn, Coolio 59. It says, this is premature death, life expectancy for black. The Blue Pill posted this. His caption says, drug abuse, poor diet, and full throttle embracement of death culture, aka negativity, has aged horribly on hip hop as it most vocal and visible representations. We're gonna have to do better if we expect to run epigenics, because at this point it ain't just something in the water, it's literally in the blood, and it got a soundtrack to go along with it. Turn up until we get buried in dirt like turnips. And hip hop ain't even 50 yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what kind of lifestyles they live, but you know, most of us, we out here, we hustling. We spend majority of our lives at work, whether you own a business or you invest in things, like that's why, like me personally, I want to have my own business again, man, but I've been looking at other things like shit like crypto and doing like investment trading, shit like that. Shit where I can be in the comfort in my happy place. You know what I'm saying? And my idea of turn up is not being in no fucking club where it's hot and you shoulder to shoulder, you gotta turn sideways and oh excuse me. That ain't my idea of turn up, nigga. My idea of turn up is traveling the world. My idea of turn up is going to the Maldives, you know, and having my own private villa and shit and enjoying my wife, you know, and my kids. Like, you know, my idea of turn up is owning my own fucking, you know, Gulfstream jet at some point in time in life. And, you know, hey, we're gonna fly here, go here. That's my idea of turn up, you know, traveling the world, seeing shit, you know, but I mean, it's that lifestyle. I mean, I don't know what kind of lifestyle these guys had. I mean, poor diet is the biggest thing, especially in our community. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the things that we eat, what we feed our bodies. You know, like I say, I ain't perfect, bro. You know, like I like to have a few drinks when I'm at home. You know, I mean, I like good food, but I've just gotten to a point now with just trying to make better choices in life. You know, I try to be mindful of what I'm eating. You know, I try not to put all that bad shit you know, partake in that, you know, anymore like that. You know, but yeah, man. I mean, I'm about to hustle. You know, I mean, that shit right there can lead to an early death, man. You out here hustling, trying to provide, but you know, I don't know, bro. I mean, it's sad, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm not about that party life like that, though, bro. My turn up is like I say, is traveling, taking trips.
Yeah, man, I agree with you, man. I want to move around as much as I can.
Hell yeah, wintertime coming up, bro. Like I want to get to a point, nigga, where I take vacations like in the off seasons and shit. Like it's wintertime coming up. Like shit, wife and kids take off from school and we go to like Colorado and go stay in a fucking ski resort. You know, I want to go over there to. I think that's over there in Switzerland where they have the ice hotel. The whole hotel is made out of ice and shit. Like do fun shit like that, bro. Like you know, like that's the type of shit I want to do. That's my idea of turn up. I don't know. I probably sound like an old nigga at 35, but I ain't into the club shit, bro.
Yeah, man.
I ain't looking to meet no chick in the club. None of that shit. I ain't nah.
Yeah, man. Me neither. I don't know.
My
It could.
idea of turn up, nigga, is having a function at the house, cook some good food, barbecue, have the looking drinks there for everybody, man, and we sit down and play games, eat good, drink, you know, reminisce. Like that's my idea of turn up. I don't need to be in no club, man. You know, every weekend in Houston, you know, something going down. Motherfuckers leave the club, motherfuckers don't know how to act. Yeah, fuck that. That ain't mine. That ain't. I don't even see how people consider that shit fun, bro. That's not fun. Your life is on the line. You go at that shit.
Telling you. Yeah, I'm getting delirious. I ain't gonna lie. It's almost 4 a.m.
Well, man, I feel you if you got to wrap it. I'm rolling. I'm driving anyway. I should be off the phone. I was just trying to maintain, but I should get off of here though as well, man.
All right, man. Shit. Peace and love. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for joining.
Yeah, bro. Peace and love, man. Happy to be there again, bro. Enjoy your day, man. You know, whatever it is, enjoy your day. Relax. Try to get you some of that kitty.
Skippity peps.
Them skippity paps. Yeah. Shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. maybe you can find one of them old toy stores or something. Goddamn, and tell them it's your birthday. They give you half off on the discontinued blow up doll or something.
Hell no.
Yeah, we don't make this bitch here no more. Yeah, we get this to you half off. It's your birthday. We throw an extra 15% off on that.
It's just a little used. It's been used a couple times, but you know it's still good. We just washed it up, cleaned it up for you.
Yeah. Oh shit! This is non-porous material, so it shouldn't have no. You shouldn't catch no diseases, STD.
You'll be good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you be all right.
Nah, fuck that. Yeah, man. It was good to hear from you too.
Hey, same here, bro. Like I say, I was making the delivery, so I was like, man, let me jump on when you know, because I missed last night. We were rolling, so I couldn't jump on. But yeah, man, same here, bro.
Yeah, man. Catch some of the clips. Facebook has been getting some views on Facebook, and I've been putting clips on Facebook lately. So y'all
Okay.
check some of them hoes out. I do the
Yeah.
edits on there, so it's like different.
Okay, yeah, I go on there and check it out.
All right, man. Peace and love. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for listening. And we'll be back.
Peace and love, bro.